What is up, woke family? It's your boy Woke Bucks, and I'm back again with another live stream video. We're in a state of emergency, guys. Woke family, for those who understand, they understand. We are in a state of emergency. A lot of the things that you're seeing that are going on in this world right now are a state of demonic activity, literally, right? It's the spirit waging war against the flesh and the flesh waging war against the spirit. That is literally showing you all of the things that are literally going on in this world right now. We are living in demonic times where you, as a masculine man, are being threatened by all of the things that are being promoted by this demonic agenda, by the demonic world. We've been saying it for so many years on this channel, but we're going to bring it to light tonight. We're also going to watch a couple of reaction videos, but right now, what we have to talk about is even more important than the reactions. You understand? There's a situation now that with this new pandemic that's about to happen, right? They're using it as a way to be able to keep you in a state of fear, right? The world government is trying to keep you in a state of fear so you won't be able to be a free thinker. And they want you to literally do everything which they try to tell you to do while they themselves are enjoying on Paradise Island, right? 2 to 3 years ago, we had something that they tried to make it seem like it was going to affect all of America, try to get everybody to be scared, to put on masks and all those things, to keep you in a state of fear. Now in 2022, it's literally gotten to the point that there's another thing that's coming out that they're trying to tell you that is mainly transferable through men having contact with other men, if you get what I'm trying to say. And basically that those activities are going to lead to you getting lesions on your face and on your tongue and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is that we have to understand that two things are responsible for these things. Number one, if we were to go back into biblical times, right, we understood that the reason why a lot of people started to develop these things is because they decided to disobey God. We live in a world that is very, very materialistic, very, very demonic, in which people are basically trying to go after the latest thing instead of trying to focus on how they can develop their relationship spiritually with God. So this is used as a weapon to be able to punish the people of the world that have chosen to not listen to God, right? All of these diseases that you're seeing that are coming out right now, all of these things, right? Now, some might say, how does the world government have to do with it? Because they're aware of all these things that are happening, right? Some of them even have some type of way in which you're trying to produce it or whatever the situation may be. But the thing is that if you're not woke enough, you won't be able to see these things for the way that they truly are. And there are so many different factors as to why they're happening. But a lot of people are just not awake enough to be able to see the reality, for lack of a better term, because we don't try to insult people over here. You know what I'm saying? But they're not awake enough to be able to see these things. So it's a situation that you're not awake, and you end up following because they try to tell you that this is the right thing to do, and you end up getting wronged. So my point is that we as a woke family, we have to start to wake up to these things every single day and start to see the reality for the way it truly is, so you don't end up getting played, you don't end up getting finessed, especially when it comes to all of the things that are happening in this world right now that are meant to bring you down and destroy you. Like, for example, right now, like we talked about, you being a masculine man. When you are labeled as a masculine man in 2022, they will call you a sexist, they will call you misogynist, things like this. Don't be afraid to be seen as a misogynist. Don't be afraid to be seen as a sexist. It is okay. It is okay. It is okay. Not everybody is meant to be perfect. In fact, I would even go as far as to say that you can't be perfect no matter what you do, because you will always be seen as an enemy in somebody else's eyes. So why? Why feel like you have to do that much, right? It's a situation that one of our other red pill brothers, spiritual brothers, and Andrew Tate right now is being criticized on the internet because people think that he's a misogynist because he says the truth that most people think in their mind but don't want to physically come out and say, right? And the reality of the situation is that just like himself, just like myself, just like Sneeko and all the other people, Fresh and Fit as well too, you need to learn how to speak the truth. Because when you speak the truth, right, in a world that just likes to lie to each other, and people that just like to, they see you as controversial. They don't want you to be able to have a free mind. They don't want you to be a free thinker. They don't want you to be different than everybody else, because when you are, you're ruining the plot of world government to be able to destroy humanity. One question we have to ask ourselves is that when this pandemic happened or started to happen 2, 3 years ago, how come other countries like Sweden weren't in lockdown? Why weren't they in lockdown? People are not ready for these conversations, though. That's the reality. That's why you got to be woke to these things, bro. And the thing is that when you start to speak on these things, they're gonna try to shame you. They're gonna try to downplay you in so many different ways, but you got to be woke to these things so you don't end up getting played, so you don't end up getting finessed, so you don't end up getting wrong. Because once you start to see these things for the way that they truly are, you don't become phased by them anymore, right? But to get back onto the point of being a masculine man, the reality situation is that they want masculine men to be cut off from the face of the earth. So when you're a masculine man, they're gonna try to shame you. You got to be woke to these things and see them for the way that they truly are, so you don't end up getting played, you don't end up getting finessed, because it's so easy. We have to understand in the world we live in right now, the average woman doesn't even have respect for the average man because the average man doesn't respect himself, doesn't see his value, isn't working towards becoming a high value man. We have to understand one thing, guys. In the world we live in today, it's very, very rare to be a high value man. So if you're a high value man and you know you bring some sort of value to the table, then you got to respect yourself as that man. And whatever woman you're with, don't allow her to disrespect you. Don't allow her to play upon you. Don't allow her to treat you as if you're less than her, because it's not reality. The reality situation is that society tries to lie to a lot of women, try to tell them that they're the prize when they don't bring anything to the table other than what they have in between their legs. That's the reality. Now, that's not to say that all women are like that. No, but we speak in generalities. The reality situation is that the average modern day woman in 2022 feels like she doesn't have to bring much to the table. That a guy should just take her for who she is. And the thing is that that's not true. But you have to be woke enough to be able to see these things. Or if not, you're going to be blinded by everything that's going on in this matrix, bro. They don't want you to be woke. They don't want you to be woke at all. You understand? They don't want you to see the reality for the way it is. We have to be woke and start to see reality for the way it is so we can be able to move accordingly. Because the reality is that they want you to be bots in this matrix forever. That is why you realize that whenever you start to talk about things regarding the red pill, starting to take that pill and starting to see the reality for the way it is, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to shame you, call you a neo-Nazi, call you a racist and stuff like that. Ways to just shame you, ad hominem attacks. It is okay. Let them do that. It is okay. Let them do that. It is what it is. Even Jesus wasn't loved by his own people. And that's not to say that we're Jesus, right? Because I heavily revered Jesus. But the thing is that you have to understand, when you stand by the truth, the God-given truth, people are going to hate you. They're not going to like you at all. And it's okay, because you're not meant to be liked by everybody. But as long as you try to seek peace and you're not trying to go out of your way to harm them or to disrespect them, then you're fine. Understand that gets us onto our second point, in which we're going to talk about tonight, because a lot of guys fail to realize this, man, and it's just unfortunate, right? A lot of guys that are young, anywhere between the ages of 18 to 24, 25, 26, 27, whatever, right, that are within that age, young woke members, right? They don't realize that when it comes to you having a relationship with a woman, that more likely than not, she's using you for your resources, right? So for the guys that are out here just trying to have sex with as many women as possible, understand that there's costs and there's benefits to it. And I would tell you openly that there are more costs than there are benefits to having sex with random women, even women that you do know, unless you're married to her. You know what I'm saying? You have to really start to see the reality. And the same thing for women as well, too. That's not to, we don't go one-sided, we go two-sided, right? We're going to break down the cost right now. We're going to also break down the benefits, right? Because people fail to realize this. People fail to talk about these things. One of the costs of having sex with a woman is soul ties. And for those of you who don't know what soul ties are, basically, you have this spiritual connection, because people think that sex is just physical. No, it's spiritual. You start to develop this spiritual connection to her, in which all of your emotions, all of the negativity that she brought with her spirit starts to come into you. And when you start having low T, when you start having depression, when you start, even I don't believe, or you start to feel depressed, not depression, but when you start to feel depressed, when you start to not have any energy to do anything, you wonder why. It's because you incorporated all the demonic energy that woman came with. And women, vice versa too. You having intercourse with a man, and you start to develop all his demonic energy, and you wonder why you're not as productive and stuff. This is why we as people, we need to be very, very careful about vetting people out before you sleep with them. And I encourage as many people as possible, do it during marriage. Make sure that if anything, that person is the person that you sincerely want. Because once you develop that soul tie to that person, it's going to be very, very hard for you to be able to break it apart. The only person that can help you break that apart is Jesus. Other than that, it's literally going to be there for as long as possible. If you, especially if you're not focusing on self improvement and focusing on trying to level up and better yourself, because people don't talk about these things. And here on this channel, we definitely talk about that, right? Another cost right now, because we're going to get into benefits, we're always going to get into the cost. I told you, way much more cost than there are benefits. Another cost, you could potentially catch an STD or an STI. A lot of people are not worried about that because the thing is that they don't really promote having safe sexual intercourse, right? Wearing a condom, uh, making sure that you protect yourself from getting any type of diseases or whatever. And then when you don't protect yourself, and then from there you get into contact with somebody who you didn't even test, or that person hasn't been tested, that's when all these STDs start coming out. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what makes things even worse. So you really need to see things for the way that they truly are. Move accordingly. Be smart. You know what I'm saying? Don't move like somebody who's a rookie. You got to be smart, even if you are a rookie. You know what I'm saying? Well, family, you got to move like you're smart. You understand? Um, Another cost, you could potentially get the woman pregnant and have children with her, especially when you know that she doesn't respect you. For us, I don't remember. Look at the situation that happened a couple of weeks ago with the McDonald's, right? 1 second, guys. Water break. The situation that happened with McDonald's. The man obviously made a mistake by hooking up with that woman, and he got her pregnant. Now they eventually ended up having a child. He tries to come and bring McDonald's to his child, but the woman gets spiteful because he didn't get for her other kids, and I'm pretty sure she didn't have enough money to be able to buy her children food. So she ends up getting spiteful and throws his food on the ground that he brought for his son. Are these really what you want to go through just because you want to have sex with a woman? You have to ask yourself the truth. You understand? It is what it is. But a lot of guys are not really honest about what they truly, truly want. And then that's exactly why all of these negative things start to happen. So right then, right there, I've already named you 3 costs. The fourth, but I think is even potentially even the most important, is the fact that in the world we live in today, right, in 2022, you could literally have gotten consent from a woman to have intercourse with her. But let's say she feels bad after you guys have had intercourse, bro. She can literally go and say that you raped her. You raped her. She can claim that she never gave you consent. That is why you as guys have to really, really be careful when it comes to dealing with certain women, bro. If possible, to be able to just confirm, you might want to get have her write down her name and sign the contract. Create a contract, have her sign it, so at least you can know that she really gave you consent. Because there are Grammy people out here that will do anything just to be able to make you look bad. Gotta be very, very careful, bro. Gotta be very, very careful, family, to be able to not go into us under those same circumstances or negative things that are happening. Understand? That's the reality. People don't pay attention to these things, and then when negative things start to happen, they wonder why. You understand? It is what it is. In this life, you have to be very, very particular about what you do and what you don't do. The only benefit about really having sex is just the fact that you're having sex. But other than that, there really aren't that much of benefits, right? At least for the men. So you have to be very, very intentional and very careful about what you do and how it can affect you. You know what I'm saying? How it can affect you, both in a positive and negative way. Real talk. We have to start being mindful of these things so we can really be able to help ourselves become better versions. You understand? But if you're not mindful, if you're not paying attention, if you're not woke enough to be able to see reality, it's only gonna make things worse. But talk. Hold on 1 second, guys. So, like I was saying, yeah, you have to be very, very intentional about what you're doing, about how it's going to affect you. Once you're very intentional, every other thing else is going to work itself out. When you're not intentional, and then you start to wonder why all of these things are happening, it's because you weren't intentional. So pay attention. You know what I'm saying? Be very, very woke. Start to pay attention to all of these things in which we're talking about, so you don't end up getting played. You don't end up getting finessed. We're living in dark times right now, right? Everything that's happening right now in the physical realm has happened spiritually already. Look at the situation in regarding to Mr. Trump and his invasion, right? There are so many different things in which are happening. People are not paying attention. Now, I'm not trying to support it or whatever. I mean, I didn't fully go into the situation, but you got to start to really see the reality of everything that's happening and wonder why. Start to question things. Start to become a free thinker, and then all the other pieces will start to make sense for you. But yeah, we're gonna get into a couple of reactions right now, guys. So let's get into it. Hold on. Okay. Let's get into it now.